Boba, 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 chameleon. Cue the Mandalorian theme music. We finally have him. And I do literally mean him. Just off the bat, guys, I gotta say, this is a beautiful box. Even though it is that sort of simple with the angled line Star Wars box they traditionally do, Sideshow and Hot Toys both do that style. This is such a beautiful character, it's hard to take a bad picture of him. All right, guys, holy bananas, he's beautiful. I'm really happy with this figure. This is a character that as soon as I saw him in the show, I said, if they are going to make a hot toy of him, that's gonna be like a day one pre-order. And I pre-ordered him within probably a few seconds of him going live. He is incredibly gorgeous, just an insane looking figure. And to know that he's voiced by Jon Favreau is just makes it even better. When I first saw this Mando, I called him Tractor Mando because, you know, he's got these cool, like, big yellow heavy-duty tractor plates. And of course, they've got that asymmetrical design, right? Both sides aren't perfect mirror images of each other, especially in the feet area and the shoulder pad area, which is kind of traditional in Star Wars armor design. You don't see both sides match perfectly. Of course, it makes for a beautiful design. Really beautiful paint job. The weathering looks great. It doesn't look haphazard like you get with certain statues or some figures. It looks very intentional. The finish on him is nice and even. It's a nice sort of satiny, I don't want to say flat, but you can see the sheen there, a nice satiny finish on his armor. The pouches, they're a little plasticky looking, but I think it's fine. They're probably meant to look heavier duty, so you have these really thick sewing marks where you'd have a leather all sewing on a leather pouch like this. So even though it is a bit bigger, you know, and it does kind of make it look a little more plasticky, I do understand the design choice for him as a character. These pouches do come out, whatever these, you know, are intended to be, probably some type of cartridge refill for a power source or one of his little gadgets or gizmos on his armor. The pouches do not open, and of course, because of the chunky nature of him, he's got a very squishy outer padding layer. So if you can feel under here, he's got like sort of a normal sized body. You know, obviously he's a lot taller, but the body frame is normal, and he's got very heavy padding to fill him out and make him what he is in the show. Those shoulder pads move pretty freely. There's a little joint on there. Same thing on this side. The head's got plenty of movement. Squishing forward, squishing back, tilting up, tilting down. Looks pretty good. All the way forward, it's not going to be possible for the flight mode, but it's understandable. They cheat a lot in the show with CGI and such. He's got this big old tube that's just shoved up under there like all the rest of the different Mandalorian and Boba Fett variants we've had. His leg articulation, it goes back to 90 degrees. Of course, we don't have the toe articulation, which is a bummer. So you're not going to be able to get super dynamic poses with this guy, but I really don't care. I really just wanted him for the design and the display ability. I'm not worried about putting him in super dynamic poses myself. If they made a cool statue of him in a super dynamic pose, I might consider that. He works perfectly fine the way he is for me. So of course he comes with this enormous, cool jetpack. I mean, it looks like somebody took a Caterpillar tractor and turned it into something from the 30th century. Absolutely love the design of this jetpack. Love jetpacks, love them. You know, ever since I saw the Rocketeer, it was one of those things that I couldn't get enough of, is cool jetpacks. This is absolutely gorgeous. The weathering, again, just looks incredible. You see all those little details where paint's worn off. They did an incredible job applying that. Nice, clean. The finish is nice and clean. Nothing's gonna get hurt or rub off. And he comes with these beautiful looking flame boosters. They plug into the sides here. They did a good job painting the heat weathering on the end of these exhaust manifolds. It take a little push to get in there all the way, but when they're in, they fit nice. So if you want to use the dynamic flight stand and put him in a flight pose, which I probably won't do, I'm probably going to have him standing proud next to my other Mandalorians. Take these out for now. He comes with this incredible looking blaster. Beautiful job on the exhaust here, where the heat comes out from the blaster. And I love this. It looks just like a Dr. Octopus tentacle, and it is bendable. It's got some type of wire cable inside of it, and all the joints move, so you can get pretty good movement out of this. You see I'm just going bendy with it, and it's turning out well. It's got some twist to it. He's got this cool gun grip handle here to hold his blaster up, and of course the shoulder strap that goes with it, and the rear grip. This thing looks absolutely incredible in the light. The weathering to get that nice sort of hard steel iron weathering looks great on it, that sort of ferrous steel color. And of course he comes with his little Vibro Blade, which is a Star Wars staple. All the cool guys have a little Vibro Blade. You guys can see the handle on that thing. Nice and clean, nice weathering. I appreciate the attention to detail on this. There's a little overpaint right there in that center of the circle, but I'm never gonna look at that, so I really don't care. It is plastic and bendy, but you know, you don't want to stab your eye out. That is pretty darn sharp though, just so you guys know. And he comes with a right and left fist, of course, that asymmetrical design, 2 different colors, 2 different plates, a left and right gripping hand, asymmetrical design, 2 different colors. And our Mandalorian is right-handed. He comes with 2 extra right hands. So he's got the blaster firing right hand, or the, you know, maybe the Vibro Blade wielding hand, and the I'm gonna backhand Mando hand, or the judo chop hand if you prefer, or the comforting pat on the backhand. I guess you can decide. I guess you guys can decide how you want to use it on your display. Alright guys, here he is in the only pose I could really get him in other than just standing and looking. Other reviewers are 100% correct. He is unbelievably difficult to pose because of the sort of double thick fat suit he has under his armor. But I was able to get him in this pose that is kind of like the yeah, that's right, I'm holding a really big gun and there's nothing you can do about it pose. That's what I'm calling this pose. It's kind of par for the course for a figure of this stature, let's say. He's a big, thick guy, so he's going to be hard to make to where he's super dynamic. And of course, a big, thick guy like this with a big, thick gun like this, he doesn't really need to be a quick mover. You know, we've got Mando for that. Here he is from the backside. Again, just gorgeous. The shading, the weathering, the modeling, and the original design work, the team or individual that worked on this, you are awesome. This is just an incredible figure, an incredible design. This actual tubing that comes out of here is actually very dynamic. I was able to move it around really freely without feeling like I was going to hurt it at all. Of course, it plugs in right under there. It plugged in really easy. The Jetpack does snap on the bottom. It hooks on the top and snaps on the bottom. And I imagine that's because you have this really stiff tube coming out of here, feeding his gun whatever sort of energy or whatever things it needs to feed him. And so you're going to have pull from this. And if you hung it on his back, or used magnets, they likely wouldn't be strong enough to hold it in place. So I've seen some other reviewers wish it was done with magnets, but they kind of needed to do it like this because otherwise the tension and pressure from this would have likely pulled the Jetpack right off. Even with magnets, it probably wouldn't have been strong enough. So I understand the reasoning behind this, and just be careful when you unclip it from the back here. It is hooked over the top, like I said, and in the bottom you just push and pull, but you just want to be careful not to pull too hard. You see there, it's got an edge for it to hook on and 2 little clips that spread out. If you take it on and off quite a bit, I could see those getting worn down. I don't think they're going to break off like some reviewers have said, but I can see them getting worn down and clipping in less strong. So you just hook it over the top and snap it right in like that. I don't know if yours will be, but his wrist joints are incredibly stiff. I actually had to pull out my my pliers that match our Mando here to actually turn his wrist joint so that I could get it angled so the pivot would go up for me. It did not want to turn with a hand on it or with just me pinching it. I had to use pliers. So just be careful if you have to do that, that you use pliers that aren't going to mar it up. Getting the hand into this position and getting the hand on this handle was incredibly hard. It's actually still not really fully on there. If you see very carefully, it never really got on there all the way. But that's as far as I want to take it. I'm worried that if I do put it on there all the way and then I put the tension on this wrist, it might break this pivot joint here, because this does pivot up and down. So, but it looks fine the way it is and it's staying put, so I'm gonna leave it alone where it is. This piece twisted over to go into this hand, but if you saw in my time lapse, I actually had to put the hands on the gun first and then peg the hands into the arms, because tension created by the really thick undersuit here really wouldn't let me get the hands where I wanted to. I had to put them on the weapon first and then peg them into the wrists. All right, everybody, here he is in the diorama that I made specifically for him. And by the way, if you are a collector and you have Detolf IKEA shelves, this diorama is designed to fit into a Detolf shelf. So here's the deal. If you'd like to learn how to build one of these yourself, this is a beginner leaning into intermediate level of skill for this diorama piece, and you can make it for quite cheap. You can make it for much cheaper than the cost of a hot toy. It is the next video posted here on my channel. It goes over how you can make and design your own version of this style of diorama and all the techniques you need to know so that you can make yourself a Desert Planet diorama for your Mandalorians or any of your other figures that you want to collect. It doesn't have to be 1/6 scale either. You can do all the same techniques and make it a 1/12 scale diorama as well. If you're a Marvel Legends, Mafex, or SH Figuarts collector, or a Star Wars Black Series collector, this is definitely the video for you if you'd like to learn how to make your own diorama.